Hi everyone, it's me, Jess. I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to make sure that I stuck with my regular upload schedule, and I was planning to film a video today talking about my rankings for the BookTube prize, and I still want to do that, and I want to talk about those books and my rankings, but I'm just really overwhelmed. I've had a really fun couple of weeks and also a difficult couple of weeks, and my teaching schedule starts next week and I'm just feeling kind of overwhelmed. The big thing that I wanted to talk about in today's video, and just a heads up, I'm not even going to edit very much. It's interesting. I just watched Shelly Swearengen's video about BookTube, and she was talking about her editing, and she was talking about how she doesn't edit her in-breaths, and I kind of went into like a bit of a spiral because I was like, oh my god, I edit all my in-breaths and I shouldn't be doing that. That's part of why I feel so overwhelmed. So eventually maybe I will do that tag, and I do love BookTube, so I don't want to suggest that BookTube is like the point that is the focus of my overwhelm. I'm just feeling some anxiety, and I'm feeling overwhelmed about just beginning school and making sure I get everything done that I need to get done, and a little bit of a feeling of like, how am I going to keep up with this? I've kind of created a monster and now I don't know how to keep up with it, and what was my hobby that I love is, I don't want that to become overwhelming. So, how did this little spiral start, you might ask? Well, it started with Hurricane Debbie. Hurricane Debbie did a number on my house, in the sense that I'm sitting in this room. This is my dining room, and I have a set of shelves behind me, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And they're big, long shelves that are mounted to the wall. And Hurricane Debbie just, water was pouring in this place. Like, I'm just going to insert a couple of videos that I took that I had posted on my Instagram stories. Like, literally water was coming in through every kind of part of the ceiling, and I was really stressed out. I was like, oh my gosh, the ceiling is gonna cave in, and what's gonna happen, and how am I gonna deal with it? It was super stressful. Fortunately, a really close friend of mine came over and wiled away the storm with me and reassured me, and it was really nice to have her with me. But while she was here, one of the shelves behind me literally came crashing down because of the water damage to the wall. So I'm gonna just flip the camera around and show you the damage. And then I thought, well, you know, what am I gonna do with this book situation now? I have to get someone to come in, fix the wall, fix the shelves. It's not stuff I can do on my own. And then I thought, why do I have so many books? What's wrong with me? Half these books I haven't read. And then I looked at the pile of books that I'm reading, and you can see like how this would spiral. So I look at the pile of books that I'm reading and I think, oh my God, I'm reading too many books. How am I going to read all of these books? And then I have like all these books out from the library, and So yeah, I decided that, well, why don't I just get on BookTube and let's try to make lemons out of lemonade. No. Let's try to make lemonade out of lemons, and let's take the books that were on that shelf, and I took them all off the upper shelf, you'll see in a minute. Let's divide them between the ones that I've read and the ones that I haven't read, and for the ones that I haven't read, I'm going to make a TBR jar. I was doing a wrapped TBR at the end of the year every year, but I actually think I'm going to shift over to this idea. I'm going to make a TBR jar of my physical books and try to work my way through reading some of them. I don't think it's going to be an unhaul video. It's possible it could turn into that. I really don't know where this video is going, but here we are. So if you're interested, stick around, and I promise I will try to keep up with everything. One thing for sure that I will be keeping up with is the Wilkie Collins read along, which is starting today or tomorrow, depending on when the video goes up. If you haven't joined us, there's already a small group of us got together on Voxer, and we're going to be reading The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I'm really looking forward to that. I know it will be great. Everything else is a little bit up in the air for me at the moment. I promise I'm going to try to keep with regular uploads. It's possible that I might have to cut back, skip a week here and there, and that'll just have to be what it is. After all, I'm a teacher and work comes first. This is my hobby. You know, work comes first, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let me show you the damage. So, as you can see, this is the wall behind me, and that was the shelf. That was the lower shelf. Those are the brackets that came out. This is the damage to the wall all the way up. It's pretty bad, actually. Like, there's a few books left, which I'm going to grab off the shelf up there. But you can see the damage to the wall. It's pretty bad. Like, it's definitely, the plaster is definitely gonna need to be fixed. Okay, so I have a very large jar, some Post-its, and I guess the challenge here is going to be to not ramble too much, because this is a massive pile of books behind me, and the more I ramble, the longer the video will be. I also have my iced coffee to get me through. So let's begin. Okay, so the first book is The Siege of Krishnapur by J.G. Farrell. This was a gift from my dad. I don't remember how many Christmases ago. I started this book, but I did not finish it. I've heard it's phenomenal. So yeah, I'm keeping it. Maybe I will just make the pile and then write down all the names and speed that part up so the video is not too long. The next one is a Sebastian Fox book on Green Dolphin Street, which I have not read. Don't know if anyone's read it. It's set in 1959. I read Birdsong, of course, and really enjoyed it. So keeping that for sure. James, obviously I've read it. Bernadine Evaristo, Blonde Roots. I read this in a reading vlog a couple Christmases ago. I thought it was great. Dave Eggers. Hey, somebody recommended The Every to me. I think it's part of a trilogy. It might be like the sequel to The Circle, which I read ages ago. I think I am interested to read this one. Freshwater by Akweke Emezi, as well as, I had these in alphabetical order, so they're going to run that way. The Death of Vivek Oji. Wonderful, wonderful book. So those I've read. This one I have not read. It's a classic, a Japanese classic. It's called Silence by Shusaku Endo. This one, I can't remember. I picked it up a while ago, and it has an introduction by Martin Scorsese. That sounds interesting. It's supposed to be like a kind of a sleeper, brilliant classic about Christians and faith. The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich. I have not read this. I haven't read anything by Louise Erdrich yet. Don't ask me why. I have two of her books, actually, because I have The Sentence as well, which I haven't read. And I'm going to add those into the TBR jar. Middlesex. Great book. Read it a while ago. Highly recommend. Guys, I'm not going to get into too much detail about these because it will take too long. The Book of Wings. I loved this book. I talked about it last year in one of my videos. My full Elena Ferrante little pile. I think I'm missing the fourth in the series of My Brilliant Friend. And I think I haven't read the fourth one, and somebody said in another video, oh, you've got to read the fourth one, but I don't think I actually have it unless, yeah, I have books 1, 2, and 3. And then I have The Days of Abandonment, which I have not read. And I was thinking about rereading these, but, you know, with the level of overwhelm that I'm feeling, that's probably not going to happen. Then we get into Claire Fuller. It was really cute. My daughter got me Claire Fuller books one Christmas after I had read, Why isn't it coming to me? The Claire Fuller book that was nominated, not the recent one that she did about the pandemic, but the other one that was so, so good. It's just not coming to me. And my copy is downstairs because I loaned it to Eden. Anyway, I subsequently read Bitter Orange, and it was just so-so for me. It wasn't as good. And she gave me swimming lessons and Our Endless Numbered Days, neither of which I've read. So we'll be adding those to the TBR jar. Tides by Sarah Freeman. This was so good. Jonathan Franzen, The Corrections. I wanted to read this last Christmas and I didn't get to it. I still want to read it. It was on the New York Times. I think it was on the New York Times list, or it was on the People's list of the New York Times Best 100. So definitely adding that. Look at this old beat up copy of Bridget Jones. I definitely dropped it in the bathtub. Keeping that, but I've already read it. This is kind of fun. Convenience Store Women, Grade for Women in Translation, already read. Joan, recently read, very, very good. Bodies of Light, this was the group read for Misery May this year, so already read. This is a funny one, my dad gave me this. Munich by Robert Harris. I don't know. Am I gonna read this? Oh, look, I read up to page 49 and I have no recollection whatsoever. It says September 1938, Hitler is determined to start a war and Chamberlain is desperate to preserve the peace. What is this about? Great friends at Oxford before Hitler came to power. They haven't seen each other since they were lost in Munich 6 years earlier. Now, as the future of hope hangs in the balance, their paths are destined to cross again. On the back, it's like, Master of the Intelligent Thriller. I bet you it's really, really good. I'm going to keep it in my TBR pile. I won't start from page 49, though. Other People's Clothes. Read this last year. Very much enjoyed it. The Rabbit Hutch. This was such a strange book. I read this in a vlog with some other rabbity books. I think it was last year around this time or in the fall. It was a fall reading vlog. This was a strange one, I gotta say. Oh, To the End of the Land. I loved this book by David Grossman. I read it a long time ago, but really loved it. This one I'm kind of embarrassed is on my shelves. I don't even know why I picked it up. It's American Dirt by Janine Cummins. I've since heard some really bad things about this book, like, you know, people writing about things they don't know about, but I picked it up because it was on promotion in a bookstore. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's the first one I'm going to put in my, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I guess this is sort of an unhaul. I'm not sure. If you've read American Dirt and you think it's worth keeping, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Oh my gosh. I picked this up in a book box. And it's the hardcover. Will I ever read it? I mean, let's put it in the jar and see. Caging Skies by Christine Lewinens. I hope I don't mispronounce things. This was a gift from my father, and I don't believe I did read it. And it's about a member of another World War II Hitler type thing. It's about a kid who's a member of Hitler Youth during World War II, and he's filled with admiration for the Fuhrer, and then he's disfigured in a raid, and he focuses more and more on his connection to the girl behind the wall. Oh, this sounds really good. And then I got this used, Anne-Marie MacDonald. Everyone probably knows, if you've been watching my channel, that I adore Anne-Marie MacDonald. She's a Canadian treasure, adult onset. I have not read, but hope to. So we'll be adding that to the jar. All right, only 3 massive piles to get through. The Owasawa Murders by Riku Onda. I'm currently reading Fish Dappled, Swift Swimming Fish Dappled. I always get the title of that other one wrong, which I had recommended in the Women in Translation video that I made not too long ago. This is such a good book. It's about a family, an entire family, who dies at a party gathering. They're all poisoned. Japanese thriller. Childhood Youth Dependency by Tove Ditlevsen. This is so good, but very heartbreaking, very sad. Already read that. The Trial by Franz Kafka. Read that one already. The Wall. I have not read yet. I almost want to put it aside like as a more move it up the TBR pile, but I'll put it in the pile for the jar anyway. How to Pronounce Knife. Talked about that quite a bit on my channel. It's a set of short stories. Very, very good. Oh yeah, we've got The Nest, which I talked about in the video that I made for Pairings with Succession. If you want to check out, oh, Nola just stole my pen. This is why I feel overwhelmed. I have a puppy who's a pain in my butt. He's gonna chew that pen until the ink bleeds. So pardon me while I go get it from him. Nola. Okay, I managed to get my pen back. He is so bad about resource carding that if you try to take it out of his mouth, he'll bite you. And he actually did bite me a couple of days ago when he took my glasses, and I got too excited about taking them out of his mouth. Huge problem. Okay, where were we? Oh yes, okay. The Appeal, talked about this recently. Great book. Nothing to see here. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep this book, actually. That's another one I might unhaul. Foster by Claire Keegan, which I loved. Great book. Oh. Okay. Tin Man by Sarah Winman, one of my favorite books from last year. And then we have a bunch of Margaret Atwood books, which who knows if I'll ever get to them, but I do want to read them. I found a group of these in a used bookstore, and I kind of thought, oh, I'll pick these up in this kind of edition. So we've got The Year of the Flood, and we've got the Oranks and the Crake. Oranks and Crake. Oh, now you're taking my Post-its? Okay, like I don't care about Post-its. Chew up a Post-it. And then I bought The Testaments, which is like a riff on The Handmaid's Tale. I think it's one of the characters. Wait, this won the Booker Prize in 2019. What? Why did I not know that? And now should I read it? Oh my gosh. Somebody let me know in the comment section below. I have no idea. I think I'll put it in the jar. I was gonna get rid of it, but dang. Small Pleasures, which I've read and really enjoyed, by Claire Chambers. Queenie. No introduction needed. Widowland. This was recommended during my book club, and I think it's something about like a re-envisioning of something about the Second World War and the women becoming, like the women winning or something. It sounded interesting. Ah, yes. Handmaid's Tale. Needs no introduction. Scarborough. This is a Canadian author, Catherine Hernandez. She has a new book out, and this was great. I loved this book. Really, really good. Book Lovers by Emily Henry and Beach Read by Emily Henry. I've read Book Lovers. I have not read Beach Read. I mean, it's just not really my thing, but it was fine. Circe by Madeline Miller. I didn't love Circe, thought it was okay. Rabbits by Terry Miles. That was in that rabbit reading vlog. Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayer. This was so good. The Birthday Party by Laurent Mauvignier. Also very good. Slow, but very, very good. Oh, this I don't recall. The Book Borrower by Alice Madison. There's some old books in here mixed in that I've had for a while. This is set in 1975 in New York City. Two women looking after their babies. And they raise their children, embark on teaching careers, and argue about politics, education, and their own lives. And they have an argument while they're on a hike which cannot be resolved. Oh, it sounds really good. Sea of Tranquility. Love Emily St. John Mandel. Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. Great book. Matrix by Lauren Groff. Great book. Dang, I have some good books in my library. Speaking of which, Transcendent Kingdom, I have not read yet. So adding that to the pile. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I mean, I think that this can be unhauled. It was fine. It was feel good. It was fine. I don't need to keep it. Monogamy by Sue Miller. I haven't read anything by Sue Miller. This sounded interesting to me at the time. I'll add it to the pile. Una Out of Order. Oh, I've started this book more than once at New Year's, thinking I'm going to read it at New Year's because it's such an interesting premise, and I just have never finished the darn thing. It's set New Year's 1982. At the stroke of midnight, Una Lockhart is supposed to turn 19, and as the countdown begins, Una faints and awakens 32 years in the future in her 51-year-old body. I mean, why haven't I read this? It'll be exciting when I pull that one. Cities of Salt, which I've never read. I know they made a movie out of it. Hell of a Book, which I picked up and did not read. Ghost Wall, which I have read, by Sarah Moss. Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies, brilliant book, have read. Black Butterflies. Luster, honestly, I didn't enjoy Luster as much as a lot of other people did. Do I want to keep it? Yeah, I guess I'll keep it. Severance, which I loved. Foreign Affairs by Alison Lurie. This is an older one. This is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. It's said to be a masterpiece. Splendid comedy and poignant love story about two American academics in London. Ooh, sounds good. I don't even know where I got that book. I don't even know where that book came from. Ugh, probably my dad. The Late Mattia Pascal. This was a gift from my dad, and I adored this book. I read it ages ago. I haven't talked about it on my channel, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. My dad gave it to me. It makes my heart, makes my heart hurt, and it makes my heart warm at the same time. Maggie O'Farrell, The Marriage Portrait. I loved The Marriage Portrait. So good. Deacon King Kong by James McBride. I read The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store this year, but I have not read Deacon King Kong. I've heard it's fantastic. Adding that to the TBR pile. Look, only two more piles to get through, guys. Ugh. I don't know, are you enjoying this? Are you enjoying me go through all my books? I hope so. Yeah. Bad Cree. Excellent. Talked about this one recently. Oh, this is really funny. This is a Jonathan Coe book, and there was like an Instagram reel where the prompt was, show me a book that describes your mood. And the title, and I use this book, and the title is The Rain Before It Falls. This is about a girl who records her memories on cassettes. She's escaped the Blitz, so she's in the countryside, and I'm sure it's good because it's Jonathan Coe. The Netanyahus by Joshua Cohen. I really liked The Netanyahus. Some people did not. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. I talked about it on my channel. The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbary. This also was really, really good. Great for women in translation. If you haven't picked up anything yet, it's translated from the French. It's about a 13-year-old girl. I think she's 13. Oh, 12-year-old. Super smart 12-year-old. Julian Burns, Flaubert's Parrot. Now, I don't know the whole thing about Flaubert. I'm not sure if I can get into it. My dad was really into it, and I basically inherited this book from my dad. I don't really know what it's about. It deals with Flaubert, parrots, bears, and railways. I feel like maybe you need to have read Flaubert, or maybe if you read this, it will encourage you to read Flaubert. I'm not sure. Let me know if you know in the comments section below. And I also inherited the sense of an ending, another Julian Barnes. My dad was a big fan of Julian Barnes. So I'll be adding that one to the TBR. Okay. Boulder by Eva Baltazar. I didn't really love Boulder, so it's going in the possible unhaul. I know. I just didn't really enjoy it that much, so I'm not sure why I should keep it. I love the cover though. The Glass Hotel, loved. Anxious People. I thought it was fun. I'm hanging on to it. It might be a reread at some point. It was funny. All's Well by Mona Awad. I love Mona Awad, so of course, keeping that one. I don't know how these got out of alphabetical order, but they clearly did. The Memoirs of Stockholm Sven. Loved this. Read it earlier this year or maybe last year. Old God's Time. Didn't enjoy. Didn't love. Maybe going in the Unhaul pile. I had to read that for the BookTube prize and I didn't really like it very much. Arthur and George by Julian Barnes. I read this and I remember really, really loving it, but I'd like to reread it at some point. I wonder if I should I think I might put it in the pile for the TBR jar. Big Swiss. This was a discovery for the BookTube prize. I really enjoyed it. Actually, you know, they're making this into a TV show, apparently. My friend was telling me. So funny. Oh my gosh, such a funny book. The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I loved. The Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ozeki. I loved. The Anthill by Julianne Pacheco. This was such a strange book. I reviewed it on my channel. It was super creepy and very, very good. A commentary on the exploitation of kids through Christian organizations. Very, very good. The Last Station, a novel of Tolstoy's final year. I think this would be really interesting. I have not read it, by Jay Perini. Who knows why it's on my shelf? Again, probably it was a gift to me from my dad. Or maybe I picked it up at some point. I just don't remember. Tale for the Time Being, one of my favorite books of all time. Atonement by Ian McEwan. Now, I think I started Atonement and did not finish it. I know a lot of people love this book. I will be putting it in my TBR jar. Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey, and I have another one of hers on another shelf that didn't fall down. I think it's Once We Were Wolves. I really liked Migrations. I thought it was really good. Us Conductors by Shawn Michaels, which I haven't read and really should have read by now, quite frankly. It won the Giller, I can't remember which year. It's about music, I think. Dance clubs and speakeasies, and it's about a woman named Clara who's a beautiful young violinist. Yeah, I just should read it. Oh, The Brethren by Robert Merle. Now, I think this is part of like 6-book series or something because I recently saw Elisabeth from Bookins. Why can't I remember Elisabeth's channel? I'm sorry, Elisabeth. I don't know why I can't remember the name of your channel. Bookins and Books, I think. The Brethren, yeah, it's a part of a series, and she was talking about it when she did a tag about the Tour de France, and it made me remember that I want to read it. Bunny by Mona Awad. Yay, Bunny. Love Bunny. 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl, also very good, by Mona Awad. Oh, here we go, another Margaret Atwood, Stone Mattress, 9 Wicked Tales. Haven't read that. The Poisonwood Bible, which I have not read. I read Demon Copperhead last year. I didn't love it as much as everybody else did. Maybe I'll love the Poisonwood Bible. A lot of people really rave about Barbara Kingsolver, so I feel like I should give her another chance. I'm afraid to put my pen down because I don't want the dog to get it. But I am also like in need of a sip of something, some coffee. I noticed that I'm trying to make this really fast so that it's not too long of a video. The pressures we put on ourselves. If it's a long video, who cares, right? Brotherless Night. Guys, Brotherless Night, one of my favorite books of the year, for sure. The Echo Wife. This is so good, guys. This is about cloning. This was such a good book. I really love Sarah Gailey. I actually like all of her books that I've read. I've read another one that was about a haunted house. Oh, so I've read 2. This was so good and so interesting. It was about a woman who was cloned and then her husband, I can't remember all of the plot. It's just really good. And I did talk about it on my channel. Sea of Poppies by Amitav Ghosh. I read this ages ago. Can't remember it very well, but remember it being good. Kristen Hanna, The Nightingale. This made me sob. I mean, sob. I know she has a new one out called The Women, which I've been curious about reading. People have said it's really, really good. But you know, do I need to pick up more books at this point? Maybe not. Maybe not, Jess. Maybe not. Wayward by Amelia Hart. This was so good as well. Australian, I'm pretty sure. I think I read this for the Australian readathon that Scott put together last year. Hey, can you guys hear the cicadas, the cicadas? They're buzzing outside. I Who Have Never Known Men. You know, I didn't love this as much as I read this actually with Gemma and Alice from Alice's Giant Bookshelf. Oh, don't cry, Jess. What? And yeah, it was great to read it with them. I didn't find it as interesting, I don't think, as they did, but yeah, it was a very popular book around BookTube at the time. The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. I really enjoyed The Mercies. I thought it was fantastic. I read this during a reading vlog. You can check out some of the list of reading vlogs. You'll be able to find me reading this one. It was really good. Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. I think this is essays, and I think I started it, but I just didn't finish it, so I'll add it to the TBR pile. Junie by Shelly Knight. This is a Canadian writer. This is about a girl growing up in the 1930s in Vancouver, and it's really good. We read it for our book club, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, you can tell that it's a debut author, an author who still has some maturing to do, but it was really good. I really recommend. It was really good. I love the cover, too. What a beautiful cover. Okay, I just hope my piles don't fall over at this point. Okay, Demon Copperhead. Yes, everybody knows about Demon. Pachinko, which I have not read yet, which I know is one of Gemma's favorite books. It's going in the TBR jar, Gemma. Oops. We're already down to the end of the second row. Trespasses by Louise Kennedy. Loved this one from the Women's Prize last year. Oh, this is a weird one. Mr. Kafka and Other Tales from the Time of the Cult. I don't even know. I think I just got this because it had Kafka in the title. I guess we'll find out. I'll put it in the, it says the stories capture a time when Czech Stalinists were turning society upside down, inflicting their social and political experiments on mostly unwilling subjects. I mean, I hope that that's fiction. I'm putting it in my TBR jar. Then Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. I loved this book. It was so good. I read it ages ago. Soldier Sailor by Clara Kilroy. I mean, it was fine. I talked about this on my channel recently when I was reading for books for the Women's Prize. I didn't love Soldier Sailor the way other people did, but it was good. Detransition Baby, which I really liked. And The Sympathizer. It was good. I really liked it. Some people had trouble with this one, but I really liked it. Ahab's Wife. I remember that I read this kind of before I started BookTube, and it was one of the books that like I got back into reading, and I'd started making BookTube content, and it was one of the books that I read. This is all about the wife of Captain Ahab from Moby Dick, from Melville's Moby Dick. And I really loved this book. I really liked it. But then I remember looking online and a lot of reviews were saying how pretentious it was and how awful it was. And I didn't get why people didn't like it. Look, I even marked it all up. I wonder if I talked about it on my channel, maybe in one of the very early videos, but I don't think I did. I think I was too nervous to give my opinion at that point. Kim Jong, born in 1982. This is a great book for Women in Translation Month if you're still looking for something. Open Water, one of my favorite books. Yeah, it's such a good book. I need to pick up Small Worlds. I need to get that. I still haven't picked it up. Oh. She says as she goes through another massive pile. I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackay. I was just so about this book. I read it during a reading vlog where I drove to Ottawa when I was reading books for the Carol Shields Prize. Yeah, I might even put that in the Unhaul. I'm not sure. It could be a re-gifting situation, that one. Suite Française by Irene Nemirovsky. This was recommended to me by my cousin. and it's set in 1941. It's another Nazi World War II situation. The Time Traveler's Wife, I have never read. Don't ask me why, I just never read it. Sunshine Nails, I read this one when I was on vacation last summer in Maine. I liked it. I kind of was rooting for it for, I think, was it Canada Reads? I can't remember. Yeah, I think it just didn't get selected to be defended for Canada Reads, but I was kind of hoping it would. I really liked it. I thought it was a great story about immigrant experience and small business. Hamnet, requires no introduction. Great book. Lullabies for Little Criminals by Heather O'Neill. I've kind of veered away from Heather O'Neill because I just don't know why Heather O'Neill kind of bothers me. Just as a, I don't know, there's something about it. The whole Montreal Heather O'Neill thing, I don't know, I can't get into it, which is highly prejudicial and probably unfair. But I really like Lullabies for Little Criminals. And I think I read another one of her books, The Girl Who Was Saturday Night, which was pretty good. But I do feel like it's kind of, I kind of felt like once you've read one of her books, it's a little bit like Mona Awad. Like if you love the author, once you've read one of their books are all very similar. Ordinary Human Failings. I really liked Ordinary Human Failings. I thought it had some flaws, but I really liked it. And I love this cover. Checkout 19 by Claire Louise Bennett. Haven't read this yet. I've heard amazing things. I also picked up Pond. I don't know where it is, if it's on another bookshelf. Putting that in the pile for sure. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Such a good book. I read this and then I read Passing by Nella Larson, or the other way around. I can't remember. It's great if you pair them together. And that made me pick up Britt Bennett's first book, The Mothers, which I have not read. So I'll add that to the TBR pile. I got kind of into historical fiction, in particular Marie Benedict. So I picked up, because I had read The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict. I read this in a reading vlog last fall, or the fall before. It was a fun vlog. I went and stayed in a fancy hotel and read this. It was really good. This is about the 11 days that Agatha Christie was missing for, and she reimagines what happened. It's really good. It's really good. The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. It was a really good fun read. So then I picked up her other book, Lady Clementine, which is about Clementine Churchill, but I never got to it. So add that to the TBR pile. Leave the World Behind, which I really loved, and I know Ben doesn't like it all, but I loved it. Ben, how? The Reading List by Sarah Anisha Adams. This was just okay. I thought it was fine, but it was just okay. I didn't love it. It might go in the Unhaul pile there. Yeah, Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. I was not a fan. I don't know. I read this and then it kind of put me off reading Sally Rooney because I was just like, yeah, I don't think I'm a millennial fiction kind of girly. I didn't like it that much. I might put it, I'll keep it. I don't know. I should get rid of it if I didn't like it, but Dolly Alderton Ghosts. I haven't read this one. This I want to read. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It's about being single in your 20s. It seems like it'd be good. The Power by Naomi Alderman. I did not like The Power. I don't know. I did a review of it early on and then someone made a comment on my channel and they had me kind of rethinking my take on it. Yeah. Tennis Lessons by Susanna Dickey. This is an Irish writer and I just thought, oh, Irish writers, I love a good Irish writer. I'm reading so much Irish literature these days, I don't even know what to say. And this is like a coming of age story, I think. Bel Canto. Great book. Although the ending was weird. The ending of Bel Canto was weird, didn't you find? Uh-oh, my pile's starting to fall. Oh boy. The Conductor by Sarah Quigley. I loved this book. My dad gave me this book. This was such a good book. I'll just read you the back in case anyone's interested because it's from a while back. Look, it's got like water stains on it. The defiant symphony infiltrates ruined homes and empty streets, echoing beyond the besieged walls to the very heart of the German forces. I don't know why I have so many World War II books. It's definitely a thing. Its composer is Shostakovich, Leningrad's most famous son, but this is only partly his story. This is the story of a man caught in the white heat of obsession, a man who galvanized a ragged orchestra of half-starved musicians into an act of resistance and hope that would inspire an entire city. This is the story of Karl Eliasberg, the conductor. Oh, this book was really good. I remember it being really, really good. I can't review it for you right now, but I remember it being really good. I think I'm going to put it in my TBR pile to maybe reread because I read it such a long time ago. The Overstory by Richard Powers, which I very much enjoyed. The Other Black Girl, that was fun. Fresh Water for Flowers. This one didn't do it for me. I reviewed it on my channel. It was one of the picks for Scott's book club. I think I might put it in my Unhaul. Five Little Indians by Michelle Good. Oh, guys, I don't know. I had trouble with this one too. I don't know. It felt really like it could have been short stories to me. I did a review of it on my channel. You can try to find, you can check it out. I have so many videos. I can't link them all, but I did review Five Little Indians probably like last year in the early part of the year. I think I might unhaul that one. Vladimir by Julia May Jonas. This was so good. I wanted it to be on the women's prize list, but it wasn't. The Vegetarian I have not read. Why? I cannot tell you. The History of Love. Oh, I remember when Scott asked people to put together the saddest books that they'd read for one of the first iterations of Misery May, and I was really having trouble deciding between The History of Love and the one that I did choose, Tell the Wolves I'm Home. This is such a good book. If you haven't read it, it's so sad. Leo Gursky taps his radiator each evening to let his upstairs neighbor know he's still alive, but it wasn't always like this. In the Polish village of his youth, he fell in love and wrote a book. 60 years later and a half a world away, 14-year-old Alma, who was named after a character in that book, undertakes an adventure to find her namesake and save her family. Oh my God, this book is so good. Yeah, loved it. Interpreter of Maladies, great book as well. Memoirs of a Geisha. I don't know why I have this on my shelf. I feel like it was such a good representation, but then I also know all of the negative things about it. For whatever reason, I just thought it was really well written. Don't come for me. Clara and the Sun, which I have not read yet. Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. I didn't love this as much as other people did. I feel like it was just okay for me. Oh, Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. I love this book. I think I tried to get Shelly to read it. I don't know if she read it. I haven't been keeping up with her channel. Such a good book. Assembly by Natasha Brown. Also a great little book. Milkman by Anna Burns. This is such a tough one to get through, but a lot of people really love it. And I was very proud of myself for actually having read it. I think it took me 3 months to read Milkman. Parakeet by Marie-Helene Bertino. I haven't read this one. I remember being really interested in it when I picked it up. The week of her wedding, the bride is visited by her dead grandmother. Her grandmother is a parakeet. I mean, that's all we have to know, right? That sounds really good. Astra by Cedar Bowers, another Canadian writer. Really enjoyed this one. Loved and Missed by Susie Boyd. I read this for the BookTube Prize this year and I loved it. It's definitely probably maybe going to be on my best books of the year. I should be setting those aside, shouldn't I? The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. If you haven't read this, you're missing out. I know that there's some topical issues with him, but this was a really good book. The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent. Such a great summer read. Enjoyed it thoroughly. The Second Place by Rachel Cusk. Did not enjoy it so thoroughly. I'm just not a Rachel Cusk girl. I already talked about that on my channel. I just can't. I don't know. I find her to be quite pretentious. Do I unhaul it? Yeah, maybe I do. Or maybe I gift it to someone. Who would I gift that to though? The Hours by Michael Cunningham, the movie edition. Look at the movie cover. That would be fun to do for one of the covers tags videos. The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. I have not read it yet, and I wanted to do a reread of The Goon Squad. So yeah, that's definitely going in the TBR jar. Winter in Sokcho. I've heard so many good things about this, and then I've heard some bad things about it, so I don't even know what to think. It's a National Book Award winner. Putting it in the TBR pile. Oh my gosh, we're at the end, guys. The last one is Burnt Sugar, which I didn't like at all, but did read. I really didn't like Burnt Sugar. So yeah, maybe I'll be unhauling that. Cool. Let's put on some fun music while I make my TBR jar. I don't know if you guys want to watch me make my TBR jar. That seems a little weird. Yeah. I'll just start. I'll finish off the video by starting with leaving you with some music while you can watch footage of me sped up while I make my TBR jar. I don't know why I thought I would be doing the TBR jar during the video, but like while I was doing this, I realized that would just take way too long, and I didn't want to make it too long. So, I mean, if you guys want to hang out for a little bit longer, you're welcome to hang out with me for a little bit longer. I'm going to be putting the name of my TBR jar.
So don't you tell me I am selfish just because I look out for myself. I've been happy, working hard, so I won't have to cry when I'm older. I could have done this or that. I remember when I used to. Don't do it cause it doesn't work. I'd rather tell her, shoot your shots. I did it, so I know you got this. We're all living what we manifest. You'll get your dreams, just do your best. So don't you tell me I am helpless just because I'm searching for myself. I've been happy, working hard, just so I can say I told you so. I told you so.
So there we have 54 books. 54 books in a TBR jar, books on my shelves, read your shelves that I haven't read, that I still want to read. Nola's looking up at me. You guys can't see him. Let me adjust the camera so you can see Noli. Oh. Hi, Noli. So yeah, 54 books. You can either see me or you can see Granola. And yeah, that's only two of my shelves, but those are two of my biggest shelves. And I guess I'm going to have to regroup. And maybe I'll do this for my other bookshelves as well in another upcoming video. But that's it for today's video. It was chaotic. It's unedited. It's like real life for real. And thanks so much for watching. Love to you guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Okay, so I can see that the lighting is not that great. Let me see what I can do about that. Just working with natural light here. Oh, granola. Here. Here, come get a treat. Treat?